The most dangerous person in your life probably doesn't look dangerous at all. Here's how to spot them before they cost you your peace, your trust, or years of your life. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The best revenge is to not be like that." 10 signs, straight from Stoic philosophy, that someone close to you might be doing far more damage than you realize. Not to make you paranoid, to make you clear-eyed. Let's get into it. Number 1. Constant manipulation. Epictetus taught that it's never events themselves that disturb us, but our judgment about them. And manipulators understand this better than anyone, because they specialize in rewriting your judgment for you. They twist facts mid-conversation. They deny things they said 5 minutes ago, calmly, confidently, until you start doubting your own memory instead of theirs. This isn't an accident or a communication problem. It's a strategy. And it works precisely because most people assume good faith by default. Here's the Stoic response. You cannot always control what someone else says, but you can control whether you outsource your grip on reality to them. Start trusting your own memory again, even when they insist you're wrong. Picture the scene. A conversation last week, clear in your mind. Then, days later, the other person recounts it entirely differently. Calm, certain, almost bored by your confusion, as if you're the one being unreasonable. Most people, faced with that kind of confidence, start quietly rewriting their own memory to match. That's the actual danger here. It's not the lie itself. It's how easily a confident enough delivery can make you distrust the one witness you should always trust: yourself. Number 2. Hidden motives. Picture a coworker who checks in on you constantly, brings you coffee, remembers small details about your life, and yet somehow every kind gesture eventually turns into a favor you owe them. Seneca warned that false friendship is often more dangerous than open enemies, because you never see it coming. The care isn't fake exactly. It's conditional, aimed at a return they haven't told you about yet. The Stoic test is simple. Does this person's warmth hold steady when you have nothing to offer them? If the answer changes depending on your usefulness, the warmth was never really about you. There's a specific moment worth watching for. Something shifts in you. A promotion falls through. You're between jobs. You need help, rather than being able to give it. And suddenly this person, once so attentive, grows distant without explanation. That timing is rarely coincidence. Genuine care, the Stoics would argue, doesn't fluctuate based on what it can extract from the relationship in a given season. Number 3. Joy and failure. There's a particular look, brief, almost imperceptible, that crosses some people's faces when you share bad news. Not concern. Something closer to satisfaction, quickly covered with a sympathetic tone that doesn't quite match their eyes. The Stoics had a name for the opposite of this impulse. They called genuine goodwill toward others' success a mark of virtue, and its absence a clear sign of a poorly ordered soul. Ask yourself honestly about the people around you. When something good happens to you, who looks happy for you, and who looks like they're calculating something? That calculation is worth noticing. This one is easy to miss because it's rarely spoken. Nobody announces that your success bothers them. It shows up instead in small withdrawals. A congratulations that arrives a beat too late. A conversation that quietly changes subject before you finish sharing your good news. The Stoics would say this reveals something about a person's relationship to their own life, not yours. Someone secure in their own path rarely needs yours to fail. Quick pause here. If you've already recognized someone in signs 1 through 3, drop the number in the comments. You're not the only one. Let's keep going. Number 4. Lying with charm. Some lies arrive wrapped in compliments. I only mention this because I care about you. You know I'd never say this to just anyone. Flattery works as a delivery system, precisely because it lowers your guard right before the blow lands. Marcus Aurelius wrote extensively about guarding against flattery. Warning that praise from the wrong source can be more corrosive than direct insult because it disarms scrutiny instead of inviting it. The Stoic move here isn't cynicism toward all kindness. It's simply this: separate the words from the pattern. If someone's compliments consistently precede a request, a guilt trip, or a subtle put-down, the charm was never the point. There's a specific rhythm worth learning to hear. Praise, then pause, then the ask. You're always so understanding, which is why I know you won't mind if... The compliment isn't false exactly. It's functional, a small key designed to open a specific door. Once you notice the rhythm, it becomes almost impossible to unhear. And the charm that used to disarm you starts to feel instead like a warning bell. Number 5, energy draining. You know the feeling. A conversation ends, and instead of feeling connected, you feel strangely tired, unsettled, smaller somehow than you were an hour ago. The Stoics placed enormous weight on guarding your inner citadel, the part of you responsible for judgment, peace, and clarity from outside disturbance. Some people, intentionally or not, are a constant assault on that citadel. This isn't a scientific claim about measurable energy transfer. It's a pattern worth trusting anyway. If a relationship consistently leaves you depleted rather than nourished, that repeated data point matters more than any single excuse you make for them. Think about the people in your life right now. There's likely one you leave feeling lighter, and one you leave feeling like you need an hour alone to recover. That difference isn't random, and it isn't about being too sensitive. It's information your own nervous system has been collecting for you, often long before your conscious mind is willing to admit what it means. Number 6, zero remorse. Seneca wrote that a guilty conscience, even unspoken, tends to punish itself, but only in people capable of one. Some people simply aren't. They can hurt someone directly, watch the damage happen, and move on within minutes, untouched. Not because they don't understand what they did, because the part of them that should feel troubled by it never activates at all. Watch for this pattern specifically. Not occasional coldness under stress, which happens to everyone, but a consistent, repeated absence of remorse after real harm. That consistency is the signal, not any single incident. Imagine confronting someone directly about something they did that clearly hurt you. A person capable of remorse, even if defensive at first, eventually softens. You can see the discomfort land somewhere real. A person without it stays smooth the entire time, unbothered, occasionally even irritated that you brought it up at all, as though your hurt feelings are the actual inconvenience here, rather than what caused them. Halfway through the list now. If any of these are hitting close to home, you're exactly why this video exists. Let's keep going. The next ones might be the most important. Number 7, shifting blame. There's a particular kind of conversation that always seems to end the same way. No matter what actually happened, somehow you're the one apologizing. Epictetus's entire philosophy rests on a simple distinction. Some things are within your control, and some things are not, and confusing the two causes almost all human suffering. People who never take responsibility have collapsed this distinction entirely. Nothing is ever within their control. Everything is someone else's fault, forever. Notice the pattern over time, not the single argument. One defensive moment is human. A permanent, unbroken record of never once being wrong is something else entirely. Try this test the next time it happens. After the conversation ends, sit with it for a minute and ask plainly, did anything I actually did cause this? Or did I just get talked into believing it did? The answer isn't always comfortable, but it's almost always clarifying. Number 8, using your kindness. Good people make easy targets for a specific reason. They assume everyone operates from the same good faith they do. Someone who understands this can lean on your generosity again and again, framing every request as small, reasonable, one time, until you realize the pattern has been running for years. The Stoics didn't consider kindness a weakness, but they were clear-eyed about protecting it. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily that he would meet people who take advantage of goodwill, and prepared for it rather than being surprised by it each time. Kindness without any boundary isn't virtue in the Stoic sense. It's just an open door. Keep the kindness. Add the door. Look back honestly at how the pattern usually starts. It's never a single, obvious demand. It's a series of small, reasonable-sounding asks, each one easy to justify on its own, that only reveal their true shape once you count them up over months or years. The favor that became an expectation. The one-time loan that became a monthly arrangement nobody ever formally agreed to. None of it looked alarming in the moment. That's exactly why it worked. Number 9. Gossip and betrayal. Warmth to your face, criticism behind your back. This particular betrayal cuts deeper than open hostility ever could, because it requires you to have trusted them first. The Stoics viewed this kind of duplicity as one of the clearest signs of an unexamined character, someone who has never done the work of aligning their private self with their public one. Here's a useful test. Someone who speaks badly of everyone else to you will, with near certainty, speak badly of you to everyone else. Consistency of character cuts both ways. It's worth remembering how this usually unfolds. It rarely starts with hostility. It starts with intimacy, the flattering feeling of being let in on a secret, being trusted with someone else's unfiltered opinion of a mutual friend. That intimacy feels good in the moment, right up until you realize you're simply the current recipient of a pattern that has almost certainly been running about you too, in a room you weren't in. One sign left, and it might be the one that ties everything else together. Stay with me. Number 10. Isolating you from others. This is often the quietest sign and the most dangerous. Slowly, almost invisibly, a harmful person maneuvers you away from the people most likely to notice what they're doing. The old friend who always saw through them. The family member who asked too many questions. Not through dramatic confrontation, through small, repeated discouragement, until you look up one day and realize how few people you talk to anymore. The Stoic response isn't suspicion of everyone. It's simply this. Notice who benefits from your isolation and ask why. Think back through the last year or two. Is there anyone you used to talk to regularly who quietly disappeared from your life right around the time a certain other person became more central to it? That's not always sinister. People drift naturally too. But when the drift lines up a little too neatly with one person's discomfort around your other relationships, it's worth a second look. So here's what ties all 10 of these together. None of them, on their own, proves someone is beyond redemption. People are complicated, and the Stoics never claimed otherwise. What they did claim, consistently, across centuries of writing, is that your clearest responsibility isn't to fix, diagnose, or punish anyone else's character. It's to protect your own judgment, your own peace, and your own boundaries, regardless of what anyone else chooses to do with theirs. If several of these patterns showed up together, repeatedly, around the same person, that's not paranoia, that's data. And the Stoic response to data was never outrage. It was calm, deliberate distance, guided by reason rather than reaction. There's a reason the Stoics wrote so often about the difference between what happens to you and what you do about it. You may never get an apology. You may never get the other person to see themselves clearly. Neither of those things was ever fully within your control anyway. What remains always is the quieter, harder work of seeing clearly, responding calmly, and building your life around people whose warmth doesn't come with a hidden invoice attached. And here's the final piece worth carrying with you. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, almost every morning, that he would encounter difficult people that day. Not as a bracing for cynicism, but as a kind of quiet armor against surprise. Expecting these patterns doesn't make you jaded. It makes you prepared. The goal was never to become hardened toward the world, It was to become hard to manipulate, while staying entirely capable of warmth toward everyone who actually deserves it. Tell me in the comments which number you recognized first and where you're watching from. Subscribe if you want more of this. I'll see you in the next one.